A true evolution is about what's happening between your ears. It's about deeper roots than just what's happening on the surface. It's about deeper thoughts, beliefs about yourself, about your perspectives, than just what you're doing in the batting cage. Welcome to Ballplayers Evolution, guys. This is the first episode of the podcast, and I'm just going to talk about a quick intro of what this whole thing's about, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, who I am, and all that kind of stuff. Just a quick intro. And it all is based around strategy on how to enhance your mental game. I'm a former baseball player, so I'm going to give stories about my playing career and things that had helped me and lessons that I had learned. But it's going to relate to all sports, and it all revolves around your mindset and how to evolve your mindset into the next level of yourself as a ball player, as an athlete. Why am I doing this? I want to help other young athletes. I want to help other young ball players. Again, baseball and softball is going to be a main focus of the stories that I tell, but any young athlete in any sport can absolutely benefit from the things that we're talking about, because it is 100% relatable to all sports. And so my stories will relate to the things that I've done, because I think stories are the best way to really reach an audience and just telling them my personal experiences, because that's really what hits home for me. I want to help the people that I used to be. I do feel a calling to do this. I'm a spiritual person, and so I feel a calling from God to do this. So I just want to share the things that I've learned and the things that I'm still learning today on a daily basis. I'm not going to give you any lessons on things that I have not witnessed myself in my own life. And so strictly from real experience and nothing else. And I feel like that's the real stuff when it comes down to it, guys. You can talk all you want about things that you read in a book or things that you've heard other people do, but the only real way to know for yourself is to experience it yourself. And I really believe there's a desperate need for guidance in the mental side of the game, especially athletes of all sports from ages 6 to 21, right? Because in my opinion, once you get past that age, and if you're still playing, you're playing at a pro level. And these things are absolutely important for people of that stage as well. But you're not going to get there if you haven't already figured this stuff out beforehand. And so again, that's why I think, in my opinion, that wheelhouse of kids just getting into sports, as young as 5, 6 years old, all the way through their playing career, from elementary school to middle school to high school, and then college if you have a chance to play a college sport as well. And again, maybe even a little bit beyond that. So who am I? I'm not going to talk about myself very long, but I'm just going to give you a quick intro about myself just so you know who I am. In 2011, I was drafted in the 3rd round by the Arizona Diamondbacks out of high school as a center fielder. And so former professional baseball player, played from 2011 to 2014. From there, I went back to school, got my college degree in business marketing, and then came back to work full time. And so if I back it up a little bit, I was born pretty much in a baseball school. My father started a baseball business called the Bianco School of Baseball back in 1991. He started in a public batting cage, just giving lessons by himself. And 33 years later now, we've been in business that long, and we got a family-owned business. We do have a large 60,000 square foot indoor facility where we have baseball on one side. And then my mother and 2 sisters also have a competitive cheer gym business where they do all different things on the other side of the building. And so we got a lobby that joins the 2 businesses together, and that's what we do, and that's all I've ever known. And so I think that's the root to why I feel qualified to do this and feel almost a calling to do this, just from what God's put in my life and the place He had me start at in my life of that being my second home, and just the things that I've witnessed. I just have a feel for it that's a little bit different, and everyone has different experiences and different upbringings, but I do feel like those upbringings really tell the story of who you are and the environment that you grew up in. And so our business has produced over 800 college scholarships, 50 players drafted, and 8 make it to the major leagues. So we've done it for a long time. And I just feel, in my opinion, that I've seen enough, I've coached enough, I've played enough to where I want to just be able to now filter this stuff and get it back out to the public in a way that can really help these young players. And so now I give private lessons, among many other things that we do in our facility, coach travel teams, help run camps, clinics, leagues, stuff of that nature. I've given over 12,000 private lessons personally. And again, growing up in the facility, I've probably witnessed, closer to 50,000 lessons just being around it, watching my dad give lessons, watching how to be a good communicator, watching how to be a good teacher and a coach, and really just seeing that from a very young age and still now doing it until today. Again, I feel qualified to do it, but I feel a calling to be able to give that back in some way, give that knowledge back to the younger generation in all athletes, really. So I'm going to bounce around a little bit just for this introduction podcast. Again, this is episode 1 of Ballplayers Evolution. And so now tying into the next thing, I just can't stress enough, if you're trying to learn something and you're trying to learn something from scratch or something that you do now but you need to improve on, you need to listen to those who have been there and done it before you listen to anybody else. And that is just essential in anything you're doing. I'm going to talk about baseball because that's my background. And so to give you an example, if I'm a hitter and I have hitting experience and I've been in the box when it's last inning, game on the line, 2 outs, full count, I have things that I can share. I have lessons that I can share on how to handle those situations, how to stay focused, how to overcome adversity, how to be able to succeed in those situations, right? And so if I'm a pitcher in the same situation, right, when the ball's in my hand with the game on the line, I know what to do to be able to get through those moments, and not just get through them, but get through them on top. And so I don't care how educated you are, those aren't things you learn in a book. Those aren't things you learn by watching from the stands or the dugout. Those are things you learn the best through experience, through you being the person who has your feet in the box, or you being the person with that ball in your hand when you're on the mound in those situations. And so I hope that is my primary audience here, right? People who are really trying to get better, who are on the field right now and needing to find ways to improve and needing to find ways to overcome these challenges, because it's not easy either. And I can tell you firsthand, it is absolutely going to be a challenge throughout your career. There's no fluff here. I really don't want there to be any fluff. I don't want the videos to be any longer than they have to be, because I like listening to podcasts myself, and that's one thing I hate. I hate listening to podcasts where there's just fluff in between. I want to just try to get right to the points. A lot of this is just going to be me speaking my mind as raw as I can. And honestly, I'm just going to tell you the thoughts that I've had and the thoughts that I know other successful athletes really have had. And it's not always the things that people are telling you, right? It's what's happening between your ears, and it's what is your root motive in almost anything that you're doing. It's not just, hey, do your work and go through the motions, and then you'll be okay, you'll succeed. Because sadly, a lot of us are working pretty hard, and then it does not translate onto the ball field. And there are reasons for that. And again, it's about what's happening between your ears and that deep thing inside your chest. And so I'm going to have another episode about this, but I'll give you a little sneak peek. I like to call it motions or motives. Do you just go through the motions without any motives, or do you have a true motive to what kind of motions you're putting yourself through? And it all stems around the guy that just goes through the motions, hoping the world, the universe, or God is going to give him what he thinks he deserves, is not always the way it's going to work. The guy with the motive behind what he's doing and is going through not just the motions, but with true purpose, true intention, and a vision of what they're doing, why they're moving their body in a certain way, in their workouts, in their practice, in their hitting sessions, in their bullpen sessions, in their team training, and then ultimately in the game, right? Because when you step into the box, a lot of that stuff you've been working on in the batting cage gets thrown out the window. And if you've been in this space, you know what I'm talking about. And I can't fully explain it myself, again, but you know if you've been there what I'm talking about. I see it on a daily basis, guys hitting line drive after line drive, or softball girls hitting line drive after line drive to the back of the cage. And then we still work on each week how to translate that to the game. And that's the hardest thing to do. It's less mechanical, and it's more about the things we're about to talk about through this podcast. And so everyone is working, from what I'm seeing, 100% on the physical skills and 0% on the mental skills. So we've got it completely backwards. We really do. Okay, I'll say that again. Everyone is working 100% on the physical skills and 0% on the mental skills. It's just completely backwards. Again, we're going to get a lot more into that throughout this whole thing. Why is it called Ballplayers Evolution? My whole theory behind this whole thing, and from what I've experienced after my whole playing career and being done now 10 years ago was my last game, you must evolve into something newer and better every single year. You must take your game to new levels each year. If you really want to grow and reach your goals as an athlete, this is a non-negotiable. You have to do this. You have to evolve each year. And that true evolution is about what's happening between your ears. It's about deeper roots than just what's happening on the surface. It's about deeper thoughts, beliefs about yourself, about your perspectives, than just what you're doing in the batting cage. And so I want to pack it with life lessons that I've learned. I want to give you some stories, some things that I thought to be true and realized that they were myths after going through them. And there's plenty of them. And so I'll leave it at that for this first episode, just an introduction of what I'm trying to lay out for you guys. And I'll leave it with this one last quote from Ed Milet, one of my favorite people to listen to. In life, you're most qualified to help the person you used to be. And I feel that to be true for myself doing this. And again, that's why I'm doing it. I just feel a calling to do it. And so stay tuned, guys. Like, subscribe, share it if you think this stuff can help you out. And I'm not doing it for any publicity. I don't care how many views this gets. I'm just doing it to give back. And again, I just feel something deep inside my gut that I should be doing this in my life right now. Thank you.